Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Just wrapping up the day 3 stream of creating our wonderful Trade Me Up trading bot. Again, we're doing that live on stream, made some good progress. Just wanted to go through that with you here very briefly. So, what was on our docket today was to start creating the scheduler and then also implement some type of connection handler. So I went ahead and made the decision to implement the scheduler in our runtime and not have it as a separate class library. The reason I wanted to do that is because there are going to be some client objects for alpaca and polygon that I want to manipulate and use for or inside the scheduler. Specifically, I will be handling, I also made the decision to handle the connections with the scheduler. So we're using a third-party library. It's quartz.net for handling, scheduling the jobs and maintaining the execution of them. So that makes it pretty easy. It's a great library. It just works. And it also works off of cron expressions, which was important to me because that just makes it easy for me to determine how I want my jobs to execute and schedule them out. So just to look here quickly at our run manager, we added a few properties just to maintain our connection state. So we'll have whether our alpaca streaming client is connected, same with the polygon streaming client, whether it is connected, and then also whether the polygon streaming client has subscription subscribed. So that is the first one. And we also added a clock object here as well. So the way our run manager will execute is it will actually start here in our entry point with start async. So we'll call start async from the external class. That's the only one that is currently public. We'll have a stop async as well to stop it, but currently we just have a start. We will then begin initializing. So the initialize will do a number of things, which will start our scheduler, which again is the quartz.net scheduler. And then we have a helper function here that will run just start scheduler. So we split that out into a different class file into a scheduler helper, and I'll just go to that now. So this is where the start scheduler is, and I just broke that out so we didn't have all these extra little helper functions that were specific to scheduling in the main CS file. So we have start scheduler. We actually start our scheduler object, and then we end up scheduling our first job, which is a connection manager job, and that's going to run every minute forever. You can see our cron expression here. Again, these are just helper functions, and they are just creating these objects that the scheduled job requires as properties. So if we go into the connection manager job, this is where we actually execute on the minute and maintain our connection. So when we execute, we update the run manager clock, and then we check to see whether the market is open. If we're open, we execute a helper function connect, and then if it's not open, we execute a helper function disconnect. So I'll jump into these real quick and take a look at those. So when we connect, we check to make sure that we are not currently connected. Otherwise, we move on. So if we're not currently connected, we will connect. Same thing for the polygon. If we're not connected, we will go ahead and connect and unsubscribe if we were previously subscribed during that, and resubscribe. Again, these are hard-coded. We'll take those out once we actually implement strategies and start having stock symbols that we can, or tickers that we can actually provide for that. And the disconnect function is just the inverse of that, right? So if we are connected, we'll try to disconnect. Same thing for the polygon streaming client. We'll do the same and then unsubscribe if we are actually subscribed. Moving over to the connection handlers, we separated these out. These were in the main CS file. Again, I just made it a partial class and I separated it out into a different CS file. These are just extra noise, and they only do a couple lines of code. So I wanted them pieced out from the main CS file so we don't get distracted by them. Basically, all they're doing is handling the callbacks or triggered events from alpaca or polygon based on what's happening with the streaming client connections. So this one's socket open. We just basically log socket was opened. when we are connected, we set our connected value to true. And then if the socket is ever closed, we have to mark that as false. And then we're logging errors as well. Same thing down here for the Polygon streaming client. The same code, just for a different object set. And that should be it. Tomorrow we're going to continue with this. We're going to be working on implementing some type of basic strategy and probably a framework for that strategy, so that way we can start loading specific tickers and not hard code them in the runtime, but actually only in the strategies. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I am uploading the code to GitHub. Please do subscribe if you want to catch me the next time I go live. Have a good day.